In this video, we are going to use a Javelin flow to find and store CNN headlines using REST actions. And so the task is to use the REST get action in Javelin, navigate to the CNN RSS feed, and get all the headlines. And then what we're going to do is we're going to store these headlines in a text file. And so if we go to the Javelin flow and we look at the first action in the flow, it's this REST get action. And you can create this from here in the communication drop down. And so what we need to specify for this action are a number of property values. So the first one's this base URL, and this is just the CNN RSS URL. So I'll bring that up now. So here it is. This is just a simple syndication feed of the headlines at CNN. And so the next thing we need to define is the resource we want. So we want this RSS field as an XML, so the rss.xml resource. And then we have an output from this action. So we have a REST response, which is this titles variable here. So if we go on the variables pane, we see we've got a variable named titles, and it's of type XML-document because this action outputs an XML document. And so the next thing we do is we use this XPath search activity. And so you can create this here. And what this does is we give it an input XML document, which is this titles document from here, and it performs an XPath search on it. And so the XPath search we want to perform here is this title search. So it's saying, give me everything that's a title. And it outputs to an array of strings. And so in this values field here, we've given this variable strings, which is an array of strings. And then what we do with this array of strings is, well, first we need to create a text document. And so we have this file system activity here. And so we create this from there. And we need to give it a path in which it's going to create a text file. And so we've used this file path variable here. And in this file path variable here, we've defined some path. So this is just a file in my documents. And so I forgot to mention that when we create this file, we can actually put some content in the file by entering a string in this content field. And so I'm going to write CNN headlines here. And oops. So this will now be appended at the top of the file. And so the next action in the flow is this for each action. And so what we're doing here in this for each action, oh, and by the way, you can create that from the control flow dropdown. And so we go into the scope of this for each action. And we're saying for each item in strings, so this is our array of strings, we're going to append to a file this content field. And so we're appending a new line command here and the item. So we're appending the headline in our array of strings to the file. And so the other thing we need to give it is a file path, what we're appending to. And so this is just the same path where we created the file. And one other thing to mention here is we've got this sequence block in the for each container. And so all this is allowing us to perform a number of actions if we require, instead of just performing one action. So we don't really need it in this case, but say we've got a for each loop and we're performing 2, 3, 4 actions in it, then you would need a sequence block. And so now we can run the flow by clicking this start button here, and we'll save changes. And if you look in this log now, you can see that as we're iterating around this loop, we're appending to the file. And so if we look in this directory, so we need to go to my documents. And we look for this CNN headlines file. You will see here that we have our headlines.